Hey guys, and welcome back to another episode of Food School Smarter, Stronger, Leaner podcast. Adventures of one obsessed nutrition coach on a mission to create a world where food makes us better. Today, guys, because I got a lot of requests from you, from my dear listeners, on a specific topic, we're going to discuss that exact topic. I believe on Tuesday we talked about the best diet and intermittent fasting, and also we touched upon the subject of getting visible abs. A lot of people now, summer is coming up, even though it is still quarantine, we still do hope, and I'm one of those who do hope that we get out on the beach somewhere, maybe to the pool with a few people we care about, and we want to look good there. And so a lot of people do worry about looking somewhere good, even maybe getting some visible six-pack abs. And so I got a lot of requests about if I were to start from a fairly decent shape and I wanted specifically to improve a lot my middle section, like how it looks, instead of being, bloated and oversized and covered with quite thick layer of fat, how do we make it look more trimmed and more presentable, I guess? We humans, we do care about beauty, about aesthetics, because one of the reasons I do believe firmly is that aesthetics, beauty, it's usually reflection of our health, of our energy levels, and yes, to some degree of our success in life, because the way we look, it is a reflection of how we take care of ourselves when nobody's looking, whether we eating well, sleeping well, putting our energy and effort into learning about that aspect of human life, our health, and development of our physical self, not just our mental abilities or those career abilities that you personally do for a living. So how do we get visible abs or getting as close to that as possible? Like what I would do if I were to start, and what is a really simple recipe. And I have it for you guys. I've been working on this recipe with my clients many times, and it's not some sensational news. All the principles are based on the science of human health, and all of them do not require any superfoods or measuring all of your macros and calories and doing anything crazy. It's quite simple, actually, but it needs to be applied consistently. So we need to do it regularly, not once in a blue moon. We might eat dessert once in a blue moon, but these habits we need to practice daily, regularly, in order to get results and keep those results. So what would I do, guys? Where would I start? First and foremost, sleep. We need to develop the sleep hygiene, good sleeping habits. And that means going to bed and staying in bed for 8 hours a day, a night, in those 24 hours. And not just staying in bed, but actually having good quality of sleep and sleeping on those hours that's scientifically proven to provide the most recovery. So staying in bed from 10 to 2, from 10 p.m. to 2 a.m. every single night and being asleep at that time. So that usually for a lot of us means going to bed at 9 p.m. and getting up somewhere around 5 a.m. That works the best for most people, not overhyped by caffeine and screens. And a lot of people who claim that they are night owls, when researchers did that study, actually, they took those people who said that they were night owls and they would put them in the natural environment without any stimulation. And after a few days, people would start going to bed at 8 or 9 p.m. when the sun would go down, even though they had some artificial lights to do maybe some reading or things like that, because they were in the woods, not in front of their computers. But naturally, in that natural environment, people would start, those night owls would start go to bed like larks. So that just tells us that for most of us, our human biology is wired to be in bed in those times. We are not nocturnal animals, guys, and sleeping at night, that just accepting our human conditions, that we are designed to sleep when it's dark outside. And there are many factors going into that, guys, but let me just tell you that your six-pack journey to visible abs will be times easier if you just go to bed from 9 p.m. to 5 a.m. And some people tell me, well, I'm not gonna be able to do any of work, or I'm not gonna be able to go out. But let me ask you this. When did the last time you did really, really like productive, good quality work that didn't need any editing? After you're with your fresh head in the morning. And also, if you have to do your work after 9 p.m., you probably are not that efficient with your mornings, and you just need to reschedule all of your things. And believe me, the quality of your work also will skyrocket, like the clarity of your thinking and the output that you will produce. So just inefficiency and bad scheduling, guys. Nothing more, nothing less. And what else? Your social life gotta happen earlier. Hang around with people who are early risers. There are quite a few of them, especially among people who achieve a lot of things, who are dedicated to bringing their mission, their next business idea to fruition. Those people usually go to bed early, wake up early once they realize how much better output they can produce. So sleeping, again, 9 p.m., 10 p.m. the latest, till 5, 6 a.m., that's the best schedule. And that would be the first step to work on, and not just think about it, but actually going to bed most of the days, unless there is an emergency or you have to travel. But these days, what kind of emergency can you have like on quarantine, really? It's just bad scheduling. And believe me, guys, if you try it for a couple of weeks, you'll be surprised how much better you feel emotionally and mentally, and how much better you actually look physically. So sleep for 8 hours, early hours on the same schedule. Then the second step I would do is fasting for 14 hours. Probably for most people, that's where you should stay without overstressing your system, because fasting does produce for some people more stress hormones. But 14 hours with an overnight fast, that seems to be the ideal for our digestive health and our metabolism, blood sugar metabolism including, and fat metabolism including. So 14 hours. So let's say you finish eating by, 8 p.m. That's, if you're going to bed at 10 p.m., your food should be done by 8 p.m. for good quality sleep. And then your breakfast will be around 10 a.m. That might seem like a later breakfast, but you're not going to be that hungry, guys. So especially after a good quality night of good quality sleep, believe me, that's what's going to happen. So fasting for 14 hours, there is a lot of science in it. If you don't believe me, check out the work of Sachin Panda. He is the lead expert in the world on time-restricted feeding and eating on appropriate for human beings time. So 14 hours of fasting, guys. Again, let's say from 10 p.m. to 10 a.m. every single night. Then the next one, stop snacking. So have 3 meals a day, breakfast, lunch, dinner, and be done with that. That's another habit that will produce quite amazing results. Practice regularly. And just think about that, guys. Every time you snack, you add calories and you prevent your body from burning fat, and you raise your blood sugar. Now, of course, depending if you're eating some bulletproof coffee or a fat bomb or something with a lot of fat, not a lot of sugar, even though that is not the case for most people who snack often. So even though blood sugar will be not affected that much, it's still snacking, and studies show that it does affect how effectively your body uses your own body fat. So 3 meals a day, no snacking in between. And what do we eat for those meals? For most of you guys not wanting to be on any specific diet like keto, paleo, or whatever, you want to adapt and practice and learn plate rule. So, and it's about proportions, not so much about a plate, actually, guys. You might have 2 plates if you're biggest size, if you're super active, but the proportion stays. So, plate rule, what does it look like on your plate? Half of your plate should always be, if you are interested in seeing your six-pack and being somewhere lean and beach or pool party ready. So half of your plate, non-starchy vegetables, can be cooked, can be raw. And non-starchy vegetables are vegetables like any vegetables, but no potatoes, no sweet potatoes, no yams, those starchy, more caloric vegetables. And you can Google non-starchy vegetable list. Diabetic Association actually has pretty good one. So non-starchy vegetables, no sweet potatoes, but also no things like no cooked corn or no cooked carrots. Like raw carrots are fine, cooked are not so fine. No cooked peas, because raw peas, again, they're non-starchy green peas. If you cook them, they are becoming starchy. Also, what is starch? Well, we'll talk about starch a little bit later. So non-starchy vegetables like your broccoli, Brussels sprouts, your spinach, your salad greens, all these are tomatoes, bell peppers, also non-starchy vegetables, cucumbers, half of your plate for each meal. If you really want to make your fat loss, weight loss simple, just have that, like get bigger plate so you can actually not be hungry all the time. So get bigger plates, put occupy half of that plate by vegetables every single meal, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And then quarter of that plate, some starch or some fruit, either or maybe half of that 1/4, maybe some fruit, and half of that 1/4 of your plate, some starch. So some fruit, fresh fruit, whatever you choose, just fresh fruit, or starch. Again, whatever you choose. So starch can be things like your sweet potatoes, your yams, your beans, your whole grains. So grains, whole grains, beans, lentils, or starchy tubers, like, again, sweet potatoes, and similar things, or cooked carrots and peas and beetroots, all these vegetables that turn into starch once you cook them. So quarter of your plate, again, fruit or starch. And then the rest quarter is your protein-rich foods. So that might be a piece of meat, a piece of chicken, a piece of fish, those, or eggs, like 3 eggs, those are preferred compared to things like more beans or nuts or seeds for more protein, because they do add more starch or fats, and that is a little bit trickier to control. And for most of you not on any specific diet, that's not needed. But again, quarter of your plate, ideally for most of you, would be some protein-rich food. That would be something like 3-4 eggs. That might be some fish or chicken or liver, like organ meats, meat. I think I mentioned meat. So that's a quarter. And now remember about a couple of other things for each plate for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. When you decide to add some fats for cooking, that's got to be 1 tablespoon or 1 handful of whole food fats per meal. So for example, if you decide to use some olive oil, then 1 tablespoon of olive oil per meal. If you decide to add some nuts and seeds, then grab your hand, put it in the bag with those seeds or nuts, and it's somewhere around 25 grams usually, unless you have really big hand. So grab the handful of those seeds or nuts, or like half an avocado, and that's going to be a whole food fat, or just 1 tablespoon of butter, olive oil, avocado oil, coconut oil, those similar fats. And then another thing I'd like to mention is for that period, that when you're trying to lose fat and see your abs and also improve your health along with that, you also don't want to be eating any of the following: processed sugars and any other natural added sweeteners like honey or agave or whatever that might be. So no added sugars. If you want sweet taste, eat a banana or something similar. So no processed anything, no processed sugars, nothing made out of flour, no matter how whole grain it is. No, again, no flours, no powders, none of that. And believe me, guys, this recipe works, but you gotta stick with it. So no powders whatsoever. And bread is also a food that is made of flour, and a lot of times it also would have sugars. So no sugars, syrups, flours in anything you eat. That means no pasta, no pizzas, no nothing. Just stick with it for 3 weeks, try that, and you won't believe how amazing you look and feel. And you might even want to keep that except for rare occasions when you go out or share a meal, like a celebration meal with your loved ones, with your family, with your friends. That's another story. But most of the days, that what works best for most people who are interested in having the most energy and looking awesome. So no powders of any sorts. And then no vegetable oils. And this vegetable oil term is very confusing. Those are basically seed oils, and even more precisely, industrial oils. So eat that fat, not like olive or coconut, where you can use your own hands very often, or equipment, at-home equipment, to make oil out of it. If it's not that, that's an industrial oil. So that yellow liquid in plastic bottle, or sometimes in a glass bottle. So those vegetable oils, industrial oils, should not be on your menu or in your food. And that eliminates a lot of takeout meals, because 99.9% of all restaurants and establishments use those oils pro-inflammatory, that also make your body accumulate more fat around your internal organs, and basically more fat around your waist, more fat around those abs that we are trying to make visible, and adding more stress internally. So those oils gotta go. The oils that you might use is fat from pastured, healthy animals that were not consuming antibiotics, injected, better say, antibiotics or hormones or none of that, because that will be accumulated in fat tissue of an animal. So fat from healthy animals, avocado oil, natural butter from healthy animals, or ghee, avocado oil, coconut oil, olive oil. So I would stick to those and those only for now. So again, no powders, no processed sugars and flours and anything made of them. And then no vegetable oil. So basically you're going to be on a whole food diet. Plate rule, again, half of your plate, non-starchy vegetables cooked or raw, quarter of your plate, some starch or some fruit, fresh fruit or some whole food starch, like maybe potatoes, maybe yams, maybe beans, maybe lentils, something like that. And then quarter of your plate, some protein-rich foods, like eggs or fish or chicken or meat or organ meats. And then if you decide to add some fat on top of that, cooking fat or whole food fat, 1 tablespoon if it's liquid, or something like butter, and 1 handful if it's something like sunflower seeds or maybe half an avocado. And then no processed anything, no vegetable oils. And if you're a somewhat bigger person, choose bigger plate or use 2 plates, but 2 servings, but have the same amount, the same proportions. If you're somewhat smaller and require less food to sustain yourself and obviously to lose fat, then choose smaller plates. As simple as that, guys. And don't forget again that that is all based on the fact that you're going to be sleeping at appropriate times every single night for 8 hours, preferably 9-10 p.m. to 5-6 a.m. And then fasting for 14 hours. So if you, let's say, finish by 6 p.m., you can start eating by 8 a.m. If you finish by 7 p.m., you can start eating by 9 a.m. Really easy peasy mathematics. And that's how you can get pretty good results when it comes to seeing your abs or just shaping up your middle section. But of course, guys, if you do want to see your abs and other muscles, you gotta train. And that training gotta be balanced with recovery, not to induce too much stress that will actually prevent you from losing body fat and sustaining normal sense of hunger. What else, guys? So yeah, with fasting, with sleeping, with training for muscles. If you don't care much about muscle and you just want to have less belly fat, then that's fine too. Just keep moving, keep walking, because that's also essential for human health, but don't have to sweat too much. And then do these steps: sleep, fast for 14 hours, 3 meals a day, no snacking, half a plate non-starchy vegetables, quarter of a plate starchy fruit, whole fruit, quarter of a plate protein-rich food, added fats 1 tablespoon or 1 handful of whole food fats, no processed sugars, flours, added sweeteners of any sorts, no powders altogether, and no seed industrial oils. No yellow liquid in a plastic bottle or glass bottle. You can use olive oil, coconut oil, avocado oil, macadamia oil if you want to go fancy, butter, real butter or real ghee, and fat from healthy animals like duck fat or chicken fat. Whenever we cook as a family a whole bird, like for example duck or chicken, there is a lot of fat plus some other liquid that is collagen rich, so we have left a lot of it. So we just put it in a bottle and then we use it to cook our vegetables, because it is so delicious when you cook your vegetables in that roasted chicken or roasted duck fat. So that's just something I wanted to share. Save that fat. It's delicious and great for cooking. And that's it, guys. My best recipe, eternal, that works for everyone. That just works. But sometimes, depending on how screwed your metabolism is and how long you practice bad for you habits, that might take some time for your body to adjust and recover, and to healthify your metabolism to see visible results. But it still will happen if you just practice these simple basics, and not just once in a blue moon, guys. Again, once in a blue moon you should practice dessert eating, and these habits are for life, for every day. Hope this helps. Let me know what you think. If you have any questions how to implement it in your life, if you have any specific question and I wasn't clear about something, reach out. I'm more than happy to answer that and clarify it. Reach out, practice it, and believe me, guys, you're gonna see amazing results once you start practicing these simple, basic habits to maintain human health, energy, and yes, good looking middle section. Thank you guys for tuning in, for listening. By the way, guys, share this episode. That will help a lot of people to look better and feel better at the pool or anywhere else. Share this episode, but then also Thursday 9 a.m. Eastern, join me on Instagram and Instagram Live, where I'm going to be answering all the questions about foods, how to eat different nutrients from different foods, how to change your eating habits. You might be having troubles with quitting snacking, like a lot of eating psychology, a lot of science about eating your nutrients from real foods. So Thursday, 9 a.m. Eastern, join me. I believe it's, like 2 p.m. London time. So adjust accordingly on my Instagram. Again, Instagram Live Q&A. So join me there, share this episode, start working on your middle section, because summer or pool parties will come. And as usual, guys, till next time, eat better daily.